Hey guys, I'm going to talk to you about your paragraphs for analyzing a myth. First, I am dressed like a unicorn. Look! Oh, tail! So, I am about to go to a 10-year-old's birthday drive-by parade, hence the fact that I'm a unicorn. However, there's stuff that we need to discuss, so let's talk about this paper. Okay, so if you look at the left of the assignment over here, we're looking at what you're going to be asked or required to do. So you're going to choose one of the three myths that we read in class. You can choose the Grizzlies Walked Upright, you can choose the Earth on Turtle's Back, or you can choose the Navajo legend, any one of the three. And then you're going to write 2 paragraphs discussing, doing a literary analysis about why, how you know what qualifies this as a Native American myth. So if you're going to look over here on the left, here are your essay requirements. You need to make sure that you have a strong thesis, that you have at least 2 characteristics of a Native American myth with evidence from the text that you discussed, and 2 paragraphs total. It's in an MLA format, which you should know how to do because you already watched the video, right? All right. So down here, your paragraph structure is just this ACE: address the question prompt, cite your evidence, explain your evidence. All right. And then down here, it says, give a topic sentence that states both the myth and the trait that you're discussing. Then introduce your evidence, provide your evidence, explain it, give a concluding sentence, okay? And then, of course, your essay is going to be on Google Drive, and then you'll upload it into It's Learning. So I'm going to give you a little example in just a moment after we look at this rubric that I'm about to pull over for you. So this is the rubric that you'll be graded on. There's only 3 categories. Following the guidelines, that's the MLA stuff, so you got to make sure that you do that properly. Your essay content, meaning that you identify 2 characteristics of a myth, right, from your chart, and then you give evidence to prove that it is a myth, to prove that it does have those elements, and then you discuss those elements and how that makes this a Native American myth. And then you'll have about 30 points about having a strong thesis, that your paragraph is logically organized, and that you have, proper mastery of grammar, and that you've, used proper English. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay, so we're going to talk about this example that I have pulled up for you guys right here. Notice that this is in proper MLA format. You have your heading on the left, there's your header at the top, and you have a title here. Now, I use the Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian as an example, just so that you didn't steal any information. Absolutely True Diary is not a myth. It's not an origin story. So that way you can't write about it, but I can use it as an example. So that's why it's titled Absolutely Not a Myth of a Part-Time Indian, because it's not a myth, but I'm using it to show you how I want your myth paragraphs to look. So we start off right here. You need to make sure you give me the title of your myth and you give me the Native American trait that you're going to be talking about. That's your claim. You're claiming it's a myth based on this trait. So look at our first paragraph, our first sentence here. The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, title, qualifies as a myth because of its use of poetic devices. So there's my trait. All right, so I've highlighted that yellow. That's my claim. Now I'm going to go introduce my evidence and then give you my evidence. Many Native American myths use poetic devices because they were made to be heard by an audience. So I'm introducing why this is an important piece of evidence. According to the Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, Rowdy is long and lean and strong like a snake. So there's my proof right there. That's my simile. My evidence is over, so I end my quote, and now I have to explain my quote. This is an example of, that should say, of a simile. We're going to add that because it compares Rowdy to a snake using the word like. Similes are considered poetic devices. And we need a period at the end there. Therefore, the Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian has the attributes of a myth due to its use of similes. So there's your paragraph. You have your claim, you have your evidence, you explain your evidence, and then you have a concluding sentence. You need to do that twice for 2 different Native American traits, and you need to use, obviously, 2 different pieces of evidence that you explain and discuss in your paragraph. Okay, so also, you need to make sure that when you are finished with your paragraph, that you then go in and highlight the way that I've highlighted. So your claim should be highlighted yellow, your evidence should be highlighted green, your explanation should be highlighted light blue, and your conclusion should be highlighted purple. This is good for both you to make sure that you have all the pieces of the paragraph that are necessary, and it's good for me because it makes it easy for me to grade so I can find your information quickly. All right, good luck and do a good job writing. Now I'm off to a 10-year-old's birthday party.